Hi love, welcome back. In today's class, you're making this beautiful wavy dress. If you're new to the channel, my name is Miss I and you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you my love, thank you darling, thank you baby for always coming back to us. This dress fits a size medium to large. However, I'm going to guide you through for you to get your desired fit. Let's get right into class. I'm going to be using milk cotton for the white and yeye for the blue. Yeye is a lightweight, so I'm going to be doubling it to get equal strand as the white. But if you have a yarn, if you have all colors in the same brand, then you can equally use that. I'll be using a 4.0 hook, scissors, stitch markers and tape measure. To begin with, you are going to make a slip knot. And the foundation chain, we are going to be chaining a multiples of 19. And that is 19, 38, 19 times 2, 38, 19, 3, 57. So we are going to be chaining multiples of 19. So I'm going to chain 57 and I'll meet you when I'm done with my 57. If you're making for a size extra large, then consider adding another 19. So after 57, add another 19. And if you're making for size small to large, this is fine. This works for all the measurements. After you've made your 57 chains, you are going to add extra 4 chains. Now you are going to make a treble crochet. So yarn over 2 times, skip 4, and inside the 5th stitch, you are going to make a treble crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all. You're going to make another treble crochet in the same space. So the skipping chain 4 count as your first treble. So in total, we are going to add 4 additional treble, making it 5. So go ahead and put your last treble, and we have 5 treble crochets in the same space. Now we are going to start making our individual trebles, and we are going next inside the next stitch. We are going to make our first individual treble, and this is number 1. Now we are going to make a treble. Prepare for a treble, skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch make your second individual treble. So skip 1, and in the next stitch you are going to make your treble. So this is your second individual treble. Your third, you are going to skip 1 again, and in the next stitch you are going to make your third. So we are going to go ahead and make 9 individual trebles. So we are skipping 1 and make a treble in the next stitch. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and make 9 individual trebles. So skip 1 and make your 5th one. Skip 1, make your 6th one. Skip 1, make your 7th individual treble. And now this is the 9th one. And we are going to make a cluster. That's 5 treble in the same space, just right after our last individual treble. We are not going to skip. We are going to make our 5 trebles in the same stitch, and this is our last one. Now in the next stitch we are going to repeat 5 trebles in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you should be having something like this. Now in the next stitch we are going to start with our individual treble, just right in the next stitch, make your first individual treble, and moving on from your second to your ninth, you are going to skip and make your treble. So skip a stitch, make your treble. So this is your second, and the third you are going to skip one and make your third individual treble, and you are going to continue like this until you have 9 individual trebles. After your 9 individual treble, in the next stitch, we are not skipping, in the very next stitch, you are going to place your cluster of trebles. That's 5 treble crochets in the same space. There you have it. And in the next stitch, you are going to make 5 treble crochets in the same space. And that's our last one. So this is 5. And now we are going to make our individual trebles again 9 times. But remember, the first individual treble crochet goes in the next stitch. Skip and repeat your trebles until you have 9 trebles. At the end, you should be having 1 stitch remaining, and we are going to place our 5 cluster trebles in the same stitch. Row 2, you are going to chain 1, turn your work. We are going to make front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. So we are placing front post single crochet in each of our trebles below until the end. Don't miss a stitch. So go behind each stitch, yarn over and pull through. So you're going to make front post single crochet all around or in each stitch until the end of the row. So this is pretty much the pattern. The pattern is a repetition of row 1 and 2. Row 3, you're going to chain 4, and row 3 is the same as row 1. So chain 4 count as your first treble. So inside the same stitch, you are going to make 4 more treble crochets, and in total would be 5. So all the even rows are the same and all the odd rows are the same. So the odd rows is row 1, 3, 5. All will be the same. 7, 9, all would be the same. And the even rows, that's row 2, 4, 6, 8, all would also be the same. Now in the next stitch, very next stitch, you are going to make your first individual treble. Now you are going to skip a stitch, make your second individual treble, skip a stitch, make your third individual treble, and you are going to keep repeating this until you have 9 individual trebles. After your 9 individual trebles, inside the very next stitch, so this is my 9th, inside the very next stitch, you are not going to skip. You are going to make your 5 cluster of trebles inside the same stitch. 3, 4, 4, and 5. In the next stitch again, you are going to make 5 cluster treble. So 1, 2. So after the 5 cluster treble in the next stitch, we are going to start making our individual treble. So right in the next stitch, so this is our 5 cluster. Now right in the next stitch, you're going to start making our single clusters. So you put your first and the second, you're going to skip 1 and place your second, and you're going to make 9 individual treble. So after you've had your 9 individual treble, inside the next stitch, you're going to make your cluster, and cluster is 5 treble crochets in the same stitch. And inside the next stitch, you are going to make cluster again. Now in the very next stitch, you are going to start making your individual trebles. So the number 1 goes directly after the next stitch, and the following you repeat. So at the end of the row, you should have your last stitch remaining, and you are going to place your cluster. That's 5 treble crochets in the same stitch. And that's the end of row 3. Row 4, just as row 2, you are going to chain 1, turn your work, and you are going to make front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you are going to chain 4, your chain 4 count as your first treble, and inside the same stitch you are going to place 4 treble crochets. So this is row 5. So add 4 more treble crochets, making it 5 treble crochets in the same space. In the next stitch, you are going to start your individual trebles. So place 1, and from 2 so you get to your 9 individual, you are going to skip and make, and you are going to repeat this until the end of the row. I made 3 and I have already done my row 6, and now I'm changing to my second color. So attach your yarn and chain 4, and in that very first stitch you are going to add 4 more treble crochets. So basically this is the pattern. We are going to be repeating row 1 and 2, row 1 and 2, but how many rows may differ. I'm doing 3 per color. You can choose to do 2 per color. One, you can choose to make row 1 and 2, change your color, row 1 and 2, change your color, but I am making 6 rows and change color, 6 rows and change color. So that is up to you, individual preference, right? So go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and make 6 rows of my whites as well, and I'll meet you when I have my 6 rows of whites. So this is the end of the row. Now I'm going to connect my blue yarn again, and the blue yarn I'm going to make 6 rows again, and I'll connect the white yarn and I'm going to make only 2 rows. In total I'm going to make 20 rows, and I'll meet you when I have my rows completed. Again, the changing of colors is individual preference. You can do as I'm doing it, or you can change row per every 2. You can change your yarn per every 2 rows. It all depends on you. So just go ahead and make 20. If you're making for a size large to a size extra large, consider making 24 rows, although the 20 can fit a size large, but it all depends on the bust size. So if you are busty, consider making 24 rows for a full coverage. And you're going to be working 2 panels, the same thing. After you've done with this, make your back panel the same. So go ahead and make it. This is the back panel and this is what it's looking like. So go ahead and make another panel, the same thing, and we shall meet. So this is our work, and the front and back panel, you're going to repeat the same exact process and the same length. The only difference is where you place your ring. So the panel you would attach your ring will automatically be your front panel. That's just it. Other than that, everything is the same. Now I don't want to cut my yarn, so what I'm going to do is to slip stitch till I get to the second cluster space, and we shall do something a bit different. So inside, this is the second cluster space. So at the top part of the work where we were supposed to put our second cluster, you are going to chain 4, and in that space you are going to make 4 more treble crochets in the same stitch, making it 5. So this time you are not going to make a cluster, 5 and then 5. You're only going to make 1 cluster. That's 5 treble crochets in the same space, and we are going to make it in the second space of our cluster. Now we are going to go ahead and make our 9 individual clusters. And also, mind you, we are making this in the middle of our work. So after you are done with your panels, where you want to be your front size, just locate the middle, and in that middle section is where we are making this last row. So after your 9 individual cluster, 8, so 9, so this is our 9. After our 9 individual trebles, we are in the next stitch, we are going to make our 5 treble crochets in the same space. That is our first cluster. And this is what your work should be looking like. So you can see this, I worked in the middle. So now you are going to turn your work And we are going to start making our front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, this is what your work should be looking like. So you are going to turn your work to the front side, and now we are going to be attaching the ring, and attaching the ring we are going to be working single crochets. But with the back panel, we are not going to add this extra one row. We are only going to end at row 20. It's only the front panel that we add this extra row, but the back panel we don't, just end at row 20. So now we are going to be attaching the ring, and we are using single crochet. So in every stitch we make a single crochet around the ring until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you are going to chain 1, cut and fasten your yarn, and we've attached our ring, and this is what the front panel of our work should be looking like. Now you're going to chain 1, cut and fasten your yarn. Again, it's only the front panel that we do this SS2 row, this very small row, and to attach the ring. The back panel we are only making 20, so the back panel just make 20, and let's do the, so this is what the back panels look like, and I attach 2 more rows at the top. So that is what we are going to do now. So this is how to make our 2 more rows. To begin with, we are going to attach our blue yarn, and we are going to be working front post single crochet, chain 1, work front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. So we are attaching it at the beginning of our work. Mind you, the beginning of the work we made chains, so we are now making our front post single crochet to define the wave before we can start adding anything to the top. So after you are done making your single crochet, you are going to attach your white yarn, and I'm going to chain 4. Chain 4 count as our first treble crochet. You're going to turn your work, and inside the same stitch we are going to make 4 treble crochets. Inside the same stitch. After your 4 treble, inside the next stitch you are going to start making our individual trebles. So number 1, skip 1, make your next individual treble, and we are going to keep repeating our individual treble until we have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Skip 1 and place your last individual treble, making it 9. Now you're going to chain 1, turn your work. You are going to make front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you are going to chain 4 again. Chain 4 count as your first treble, turn your work. Inside the same space, you are going to make 4 more treble crochets, and in total you should have 5 in the same space. Now you realize that the row 2, we wouldn't get the exact 9 treble crochets, but instead we would get 8. So don't worry, our work will decrease by 1. So make your individual trebles until the end of the row. And this is what you should be having. Place your last treble. And now you are going to chain 1, turn your work. Make front post single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you can cut and fasten your yarn, and we are going to repeat the same exact step at the other side of our work. So this is our shoulder line. So to make it easy, you can count your stitches. And count from the other side, so you would know the exact stitches and insert your hook. So now you are going to attach your yarn at the other side, and also you are going to chain 4. This chain 4 counts as our first individual treble. So you're going to yarn over 2 times, skip 1, and inside the next stitch you are going to make your second individual treble. So skip 1, make your third individual treble, and you are going to repeat this until the end of the row. At the end of the row, we are going to make 5 treble crochet cluster in the same space. Now in the last stitch, you are going to make 5 individual trebles. So you are going to repeat this the same as you did for the other side. So repeat row 2, 3, and 4. And cut and fasten your yarn, and you are going to do the same thing for all the other panel as well. Now to make the borders, you are going to insert your hook at the end of your work or at any side of your work, and inside each row we are going to make 3 single crochets. So go ahead and make 3 single crochets in each row until the end. At the end of the row, you are going to chain 1, turn your work, make 1 single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. And you are going to repeat the same thing at the other side of the border, and also at all the sides of the border, both the front and the back panel. You are going to repeat the same exact thing. Now we are going to be attaching the 2 panels together, the front and the back. Before we attach, you are going to measure and leave your armhole space, and with the armhole I'm leaving 4 points. I'm measuring 4.5 So you are going to insert your stitch marker, measure 7.5 on each side, both the front panel and back panel. So I've measured and attached stitch markers all through. Now to begin attaching, we are going to be attaching from the shoulder line first, and before we attach on the sides of our work. Now from the shoulder line, we are going to be attaching at the back single crochet space. So attach your yarn and make slip stitches in each space. Make sure your work is aligned. So both you take the front panel and the back panel, make a slip stitch. Front and back, make a slip stitch. And we are making this on the back loop of both panels. So attach them. So you could see the back panel, I already made the border, the last border, that is the white, but with the front panel, I didn't make. So now we are going to be working single crochets across, but in the treble crochet space, we are going to make 3 single crochets in the treble crochet rows. And now to our normal space, we are going to be working 1 single crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, we are going to make our 3 single crochets in the treble space and attach our yarn. Attach the other side as well. Chain 1, cut and fasten your yarn, and you should be having something like this. Now we are going to be attaching the size of the work, and also we are going to be attaching with slip stitches. So make sure your work is aligned properly. Insert your hook inside the first stitch of the front and back panel. Pull your yarn through, chain 1, and go into each stitch, both front and back, with slip stitches. Make sure your work is aligned well and make your slip stitches till you get to the stitch marker space. And you are going to repeat. When you get to the stitch marker space, you are going to chain 1, cut and fasten your yarn, and you are going to repeat the same exact process of attaching and attach the other sides of our work too. And when you are done, you make sure you cut and fasten all loose ends, and this is what your work should be looking like. This is the first part of the work, so if you don't understand anything, please watch, rewatch, pause if you want to, and rewatch and make sure you get it before we move to the second part of our work. Stay hydrated. Bye bye.